I want you to picture a woman named Frances. She was 71 years old, sharp, fiercely independent, and by every measure, the healthiest woman on her street. She took her medication faithfully, she walked daily, she cooked every meal from scratch. But one Tuesday morning, she woke up and her left arm felt strange, heavy, numb. She ignored it. She told herself she had slept on it wrong and carried on with her morning routine, the same routine she had followed for 40 years. By 9 a.m., the numbness had crept up her neck. Her vision flickered. She sat down at her kitchen table and could not get back up. Her daughter found her 40 minutes later. Frances had suffered a stroke. When I reviewed her case, I kept asking the same question. Why that morning? Her blood pressure had been stable for 2 years. Medication was consistent. Diet had not changed. Then I looked at her morning routine, and there it was. But here's what nobody told Frances, and what nobody may have told you. After 60 certain morning habits do not just feel uncomfortable. They actively restrict blood flow to the brain and heart during the most dangerous window of the entire day. Most people do not find out until something goes wrong. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which morning habit is silently blocking blood flow in people over 60, and you will have 5 clear, simple steps to protect yourself starting tomorrow morning. No prescriptions, no equipment, no major lifestyle changes, just practical adjustments to a routine you already follow every day. And I want you to stay with me through step 4, because what I share there is something most people assume is completely harmless, something often recommended as a morning health ritual. But for people over 60 with any degree of arterial stiffness, it is one of the most counterproductive things you can do in those first 30 minutes after waking. I will explain exactly why with the science to back it up. But first, let me show you what is happening inside your body every morning. Think of your circulatory system as irrigation pipes running through a garden. All night, those pipes sit still. Pressure drops. Your heart runs at its lowest, most rested pace. Then morning comes. Cortisol and adrenaline surge, heart rate climbs, blood pressure rises. The pipes need to carry a much heavier load, quicker, to supply your brain, muscles, and organs. In a younger body with flexible pipes, this transition is smooth. But after 60, those pipes have narrowed and stiffened. When that morning pressure surge hits resistant vessels, blood cannot move freely. The heart works harder, and in the narrowest sections, the vessels feeding your brain and heart muscle, blood flow can be significantly reduced at the exact moment your body needs it most. This is why 6 to 10 a.m. carries the highest statistical risk for heart attack and stroke. It is not random, it is physiology. And certain morning habits make this window dramatically more dangerous. In more than 25 years of internal medicine and cardiac care, I have reviewed the morning routines of hundreds of patients following cardiac events. The pattern that emerged was striking. It was not unusual risk factors that separated the patients who had events from those who did not. In many cases, it was what they did in those first 30 to 60 minutes of the day. The morning window is not neutral. For a cardiovascular system over 60, it is the highest stakes hour of the day, and most people walk through it completely unaware. What most people don't realize is that you do not need a new medication or a specialist appointment to protect yourself during this window. You need to understand 5 specific habits that either open your blood vessels or close them, and make the right choice about each one before your feet even hit the floor. Here's what I tell my own patients. Let me ask you something. What is the first physical thing you do when your alarm goes off or when you wake up in the morning? If your answer is, I sit up and get moving, I want you to stop doing that. Starting tomorrow, when you wake up, stay lying down for 2 full minutes. Breathe slowly and deliberately. Then move to a seated position and stay there for another minute before standing. Only then should you begin walking. During sleep, blood pools slightly in the lower body and pressure sits at its overnight low. When you stand abruptly, your heart must instantly compensate for gravity pulling blood away from your brain. In stiffened vessels, this sudden demand causes a sharp drop in blood supply to the brain in the very seconds you are moving. The 2-minute transition gives your vessels time to adjust pressure gradually, so blood reaches the brain smoothly rather than in a sudden scramble. Thomas, 73, came to me after 2 near fainting episodes in the morning, both within seconds of getting out of bed. No formal diagnosis had been made. When I observed his morning routine, he was on his feet and walking to the bathroom within 10 seconds of waking. We introduced the 2-minute lie down, 1-minute sit rule. The episode stopped completely within a week. 2 minutes lying down after waking, 1 minute seated at the bed edge before standing. Total transition time, 3 minutes. This small delay makes a measurable difference in cerebral blood flow during the morning pressure surge. Do you spring out of bed the moment you wake up? Tell me in the comments. How quickly do you go from lying down to standing? Your answer might help someone else watching this right now. What is the very first thing you put in your body every morning? For most people over 60, the answer is coffee, tea, or nothing at all for the first hour. Both of those patterns are working against your blood flow before the day has even started. Before any caffeine, before breakfast, before anything else, drink 6 ounces of plain room temperature water. Sip it slowly over 5 to 8 minutes. Then wait 10 minutes before your coffee or tea. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your blood has thickened. You lose fluid overnight through breathing and perspiration without replacing it. Thicker blood flows more slowly and with more resistance through already stiffened vessels, like pushing syrup through a narrow pipe instead of clean water. 6 ounces of plain water rehydrates the blood, reduces resistance, and allows it to move more freely during the high-risk morning surge. Agnes, 67, had persistent morning headaches and consistently high first-reading blood pressure. She drank 2 cups of strong coffee before eating anything each morning. We added one change only, 6 ounces of water before her first coffee. Within 10 days, her morning headaches had resolved, and her first blood pressure reading of the day had dropped by an average of 8 points. 6 ounces of plain water, room temperature, or slightly warm, before any caffeine. Allow 10 minutes before coffee or tea. This takes under 10 minutes and costs nothing. What is the first thing you drink every morning? Leave it in the comments. I want to know how many people are starting their day without water. After you wake up, do you sit straight down, at the table, in a chair for the news, at your phone? If you are still in the first 30 minutes, your blood vessels have not received the signal to open properly for the day. Within the first 30 minutes of waking, do 5 to 8 minutes of gentle movement. A slow walk around the house, shoulder rolls, ankle circles, 10 slow arm raises, nothing strenuous. Just enough to tell the body it is time to circulate. Movement triggers the release of nitric oxide, your body's natural vessel opening compound. It tells the arteries to relax and widen. Without it, your vessels stay in their overnight contracted state and blood continues pushing against narrow walls during the exact period when pressure is already rising. 5 minutes of gentle movement is like turning a key in a lock. Leonard, 70, had been having recurring dizzy spells in the morning that vanished by mid-morning every day. His doctors had run tests and found nothing conclusive. I asked about his mornings. He woke up, dressed, sat at the kitchen table for 30 minutes reading the newspaper, then had breakfast. We added 5 minutes of slow walking through his house before sitting down. The dizzy spells resolved within 2 weeks, 5 to 8 minutes of gentle movement within the first 30 minutes of waking. Walking pace or slower, no intensity required. The goal is circulatory activation, not cardiovascular training. If you have balance issues or use a walking aid, seated gentle movement such as ankle circles, shoulder rolls, and arm lifts achieves the same circulatory effect safely. Do you move within the first 30 minutes of your morning, or do you sit straight down? Tell me below. This is one of the most overlooked habits I encounter. Now, what I'm about to share next is something most doctors don't even bring up in a standard appointment. Step 4 involves a morning habit that is widely promoted as healthy, something you may have seen recommended in health articles, on packaging, even by well-meaning friends. But for people over 60 with any arterial stiffness, it can actively work against blood flow in the morning. I want you to hear the full explanation before you decide what to do with this information. Is a hot shower the first thing you do after waking up? For many people, it is the cornerstone of the morning routine. It feels like it wakes you up, loosens your muscles, and starts the day right. And in many ways, it does. But the cardiovascular effect in an older body during the morning pressure surge is something most people have never been warned about. Move your shower to later in the morning, at least 45 minutes after waking. If you prefer showering immediately, reduce the water temperature to warm rather than hot. Finish with 30 seconds of cooler water before stepping out. Avoid prolonged exposure to very hot water in the first 30 minutes after waking. Hot water causes surface blood vessels to dilate rapidly. Blood rushes to the skin to manage the heat, causing a sudden drop in core blood pressure. Meanwhile, your heart is already working hard against the morning cortisol surge. The result is a conflict. Your heart is pushing hard while your vessels are diverting blood away from your core circulation. In a younger system, this balances quickly. In an older one with stiffer vessels, this redistribution can temporarily undersupply the brain and heart. This is why some people feel dizzy or experience palpitations in a morning shower. Marianne, 68, had experienced 3 episodes of sudden lightheadedness that caused her to grab the shower wall to steady herself. All 3 happened in the morning, all 3 in the shower. Her doctor had attributed it to low blood pressure generally. When I reviewed the timing, the pattern was clear: hot shower within 10 minutes of waking before eating or drinking anything. We shifted her shower to 45 minutes after waking and reduced the temperature slightly. She has not had a single episode in over a year. Wait at least 45 minutes after waking before a hot shower. Water temperature, warm but not scalding. Add a 30-second cool rinse at the end to help vessels stabilize. If you cannot delay the shower, reduce temperature and keep it under 8 minutes. Do you take a hot shower first thing in the morning? Has this step surprised you? Leave a comment. And if you have ever felt dizzy or lightheaded in a morning shower, I especially want to hear from you. Do you skip breakfast entirely because you are not hungry in the morning? Or do you eat something sweet? A pastry, a bowl of sugary cereal, toast with jam, or a fruit drink? And as your first food of the day? Both of these patterns are affecting your blood flow in ways that last for hours. Within 90 minutes of waking, eat a small, protein and fat-based breakfast, a boiled egg, a small portion of plain oats with nuts, plain yogurt, avocado on whole grain toast. Avoid anything primarily made of refined sugar or white flour as your first food of the morning. Skipping breakfast keeps cortisol high, vessels contracted, and blood thick. You are extending your overnight cardiovascular vulnerability window hours into the morning unnecessarily. A sugary first meal spikes blood sugar, then crashes it, triggering an adrenaline surge that constricts blood vessels and raises heart rate. A protein-based breakfast does the opposite. It stabilizes blood sugar, lowers cortisol, and signals your cardiovascular system to settle. Howard, 72, had mid-morning chest tightness 3 to 4 times per week. Cardiac testing was inconclusive. Each morning, a large glass of orange juice and 2 slices of white toast with jam. We replaced it with 2 boiled eggs and plain oats. His chest tightness stopped within 3 weeks. Eat within 90 minutes of waking. Minimum 10 to 15 grams of protein at your first meal. Less than 10 grams of added sugar. Avoid fruit juice, pastries, sugary cereals, and white bread as standalone breakfast choices. What does your typical breakfast look like? Tell me below. I want to understand what most people over 60 are actually eating first thing in the morning. Everything here comes back to one idea. The morning window is the highest risk hour for your cardiovascular system after 60. And every habit in that window either opens your blood vessels or narrows them. Jumping up abruptly, dehydration, sitting still, a hot shower too early, skipping breakfast, or eating sugar. Each one blocks blood flow in a different way during the exact window when your heart needs it most. Remove them one by one and you change what happens inside your body every single morning. Frances spent 11 weeks in rehabilitation. She recovered more fully than her initial prognosis suggested. At her follow-up, I walked her through everything I've shared with you today. She listened. Then she said something I have not forgotten. So it was my morning routine, the same one I followed for 40 years. Nobody ever told me it needed to change when I got older. Then, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? Someone is telling you. Today. Before something happens, use it. Let me make this simple. Take 3 minutes to transition out of bed, 2 minutes lying down, 1 minute seated before standing. Drink 6 ounces of plain water before any caffeine. Every single morning. Do 5 to 8 minutes of gentle movement within your first 30 minutes of waking. Delay your hot shower by at least 45 minutes after waking. Reduce temperature if you cannot wait. Eat a small protein-based breakfast within 90 minutes. No sugar, no juice, no skipping. Do not try to change all 5 of these tomorrow morning. Pick one. The step that resonated most, the one where you thought, that is exactly what I do. Change that one first. Give it 2 weeks. Let it become automatic. Your blood vessels do not need a perfect morning. They need a better one than yesterday, one step at a time starting tomorrow. Which of these 5 morning habits are you going to change first? Tell me in the comments. I read them. Your answer helps shape what I cover next, and it might be exactly what someone else scrolling through needs to see. If you have someone in your life over 60, a parent, a spouse, a friend, who has never thought about their morning routine in this way, please share this video with them. It takes 1 second. It could genuinely matter. If this kind of clear, honest, clinically grounded health information is useful to you, no products, no exaggeration, just real medicine explained in plain language. Subscribe and hit the bell. This is what I do. Every video is designed to give you practical knowledge that makes a real difference in how you live after 60